Hello everyone, welcome to another video of TT Passion. My name is Vincent and today in this video I'm going to share with you my review for the Xiom TMXi regular version and also its brother, the Xiom TMXi Pro version. Okay, so as you watch this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to TT Passion. Okay, all you need to do is simply click on the golden little table tennis racket that you see on the bottom right hand corner of your screen. So your subscription and your likes will be the greatest motivation for me to carry on and create more awesome table tennis video to share with everyone. So what will you see in this video? Basically, I will be sharing with you the differences of these two blades over here, the regular and the pro version. And also moving on, I will share with you some snapshots of me testing out the blade. However, due to time limitations, I have only taken snapshots of the Xiom TMXi regular version. However, I will share with you in this video what are the key differences between these two blades. So the Xiom TMXi Pro version is actually the one that is used by the South Korean player An Jae-hyun. Okay, basically he's the current world number 8 for men's singles category, and the Pro version is the one that he is currently using. So there's two versions, the regular and the Pro. So what are the differences between the two? So if you were to look at the Xiom TMXi regular version, you can see that the logo at the handle for the front and back is actually in gold color. However, for the Pro version, the logo is in red color, okay, for both the front and the back. And one key difference that you can actually see visually is that for the Pro version, there's the word Pro over here that you can see, okay, just beside the top part of the handle. But for the regular version, you will not see the Pro word at all, okay, you will only see the signature at the side of the handle. Okay, so physically, from what you can see straight away is the difference between the word Pro and also the color of the logo. So if you were to see this Xiom TMXi blade, that is how you can easily recognize whether it's the regular version or the Pro version. Another key difference between the two blades is in terms of the measurement. Based on my measurement of the two blades, the Xiom TMXi Pro is actually slightly larger. The length of the surface from top towards the handle is actually 160 millimeters. Okay. However, the Xiom TMXi is actually slightly smaller at 158 millimeters. And besides that, the thickness of the blade is also different. From my measurement, the Xiom TMXi regular is 6 millimeters thick, while the Pro version is 6.2 millimeters thick. So just based on the physical measurement of the two blades, immediately what I can imagine is that the Pro blade is going to be slightly more powerful than the regular blade. So let me share with you a bit more in this review to find out whether is it really true that the Pro version is stronger than the regular version. Okay, so in my review, I will be covering three aspects that I think is important for a blade. Firstly is the control, second is the speed and power, lastly is the trajectory of the blade. Okay, so for this review, I am actually using TMXi 80 for my forehand and TMXi 09C for my backhand on both blades that I have over here. So firstly, in terms of control, I think that the TMXi regular version and the TMXi Pro version is actually pretty similar. Okay, so firstly, in terms of the blade, I find it rather stiff and the vibration is actually quite high when you hit the ball. So I think that this is largely because of the inner carbon structure that this blade actually has. So when it comes to handling of short balls and service game, it might not be that smooth. So you may actually need to put in a bit more practice in these areas in order to get used to the blade as well. So for the sweet spot between the two, definitely the TMXi Pro is better. Okay, it's like the main reason is because the surface is actually bigger. Okay, for the TMXi regular, I would say that the sweet spot is just pretty average. Next, in terms of the dwell time on the blade, I find that both blades do not really have a very long dwell time. Although this is an inner carbon blade, I do feel that the ball actually bounces off the blade rather quickly. So dwell time may not be that high, so depending on your gameplay, whether you like the ball to stick longer to your blade or not. Okay, so this is one of the area that you will need to be mindful of if you plan to get this blade. Okay, so if you prefer a longer dwell time, maybe this blade is not that suitable for you. And next, let's move on to the offense and defense of this blade. Okay, so being a blade that is quite stiff, I think and with the ball bouncing off quite fast away from your blade, definitely the offense is actually pretty good. The next area in terms of control, I think would probably be blocking. Okay, so when you are blocking the ball, I think that the TMXi, be it the regular or the Pro version, is actually quite good in this area. So partially, I think that's due to the vibration property of this blade. You can actually have a better feeling of the ball hitting your blade. So as a result, this will actually help you in terms of your blocking. So if I were to give a rating for control for the TMXi or the TMXi Pro version for both blades, I will actually go with a 3 out of 5 rating. Next, on the second area for the review, I'm going to talk about the power and speed of the blades here. Okay, so for the TMXi regular version, I find that it is relatively powerful for this blade over here. I can feel that the ball is quite fast when I go on the offense. So the power and speed of this blade is quite good as well. I would say that it's slightly above average. And as for the TMXi Pro version, definitely based on my experience, the Pro version is a lot faster and more powerful than the regular version. Okay, so if I were to give a rating for the TMXi regular version, I will go with 3 out of 5. And as for the Pro version, I will go with 4.5 out of 5 because I do find that it is really powerful for the Pro version. And in terms of playing far away from the table, I think that both blades fare quite reasonably well. And the Pro version definitely has an advantage over here. And the TMXi regular version does the job, but if you really want to generate a lot more power from gameplay that is far away from the table, the Pro version definitely has a lot more advantage over it. And in terms of close table game, I think both blades are okay, unless you are, like I mentioned earlier on, unless you are handling short ball, it may be quite challenging to handle short balls for both blades. Lastly, I'm going to talk about the trajectory that the blades actually produce. In my experience, during my testing of both blades, I feel that the trajectory is not really very low, neither is it very high. So it's just quite average. There isn't a significant trait that the ball actually bounces off very high or very low. So I think it's pretty average. So in this aspect, I'm going to give it a rating of 3 out of 5. Now, let me summarize my thoughts in terms of these two blades here, the TMXi regular and the Pro version. Firstly, I do think that this blade design and the workmanship from Xiom is excellent. These two blades are actually my first experience with Xiom. And in fact, I'm quite impressed by the quality of the blades that they have produced over here. For those of you who have seen most of my video, I think that you would know that I'm more of a butterfly supporter. However, Xiom over here has impressed me today with their workmanship as well, okay, in terms of how they built the blade and also the design of the blades, okay. And I find it rather cool that they have gold plated label at the bottom of the handle. This is not something you will see often in butterfly blades. For those of you who are familiar with butterfly products, I'm sure you know that they only use gold label for very unique blades. Okay, so that might be a unique selling point for butterfly, but for Xiom, I do find it pretty attractive to have gold label logo at the bottom of the handle. Next, in terms of the pricing of these two blades over here, the Xiom TMXi regular blade that I have here, I got it at around 160 Singapore dollars, while for the Pro version, I got it for about 270 Singapore dollars. Okay, for the Pro version, I actually got it at a discounted price. The original price was 300 Singapore dollars. So that's a caveat that I have to mention here. So the difference, if we look at the retail price, 160 and 300 is about $140 difference. And whether to buy or not to buy, investing this amount of money, it depends on the situation you are in, I would say. So for those of you who already have a good blade, be it a Viscaria or for example Stiga Dynasty Carbon, I think those blades are pretty good. Or even if you have an Ultra Inner Force ALC, I think those blades are pretty good already. So if you want to move from a pretty decent blade to Xiom TMXi, I wouldn't really recommend it, okay, because those blades are already pretty good, and I think you can continue to use them and practice, and those blades should be sufficient for you as compared to a Xiom TMXi regular version. However, if your technique and skill level is of a certain standard, I would say at least above intermediate, okay, I think you can consider the Xiom TMXi Pro, because the power and the speed that it brings you during the offense is really good. And with strong technique and skills, I think the handling of short ball and the service game will not be too big of a challenge for you. So my overall rating for the two blades over here, for the TMXi regular version, as an overall rating, I will give it a 3 out of 5. And for the TMXi Pro version, as an overall rating, I will actually give it a 4 out of 5. And in the last part of my summary, I would actually like to mention that one of the main reasons I tried out the Xiom TMXi blade was largely because of one of my viewer, Colin, who has introduced this blade over here, whereby actually there are quite a lot of people that feels that this blade might be similar to the THS Long 5 or the W968. As you know, the Long 5, there is also the regular version, there's the provincial version, there's also the national version. So I have both the THS Long 5, the regular version, and also the national version. So if I were to give a very concise and quick comparison between the DHS Long 5 and the Xiom TMXi, I would say that both blades are quite different, okay? That's because the DHS Long 5, especially the W968, the national version, in terms of control, I will say that the W968 control is extremely good, okay? It's extremely good as compared to the Xiom TMXi, be it the regular or the Pro version. If I were to give you a rating for the W968, I will actually give at least a 4.5 out of 5, or even a full score of 5 out of 5 for the W968 control. However, for the TMXi, like I mentioned earlier on, is sitting around a 3 out of 5. So, of course, the DHS W968 costs a lot more than these two blades over here, but if you really want a blade that has superb control, I think that the 968 will stand out against these two easily. So at the end of the day, I think it still depends on the skill level you are at and the budget you have, and whether or not you already have a good blade. If you do not have a good blade at the moment, I think that the Xiom TMXi regular version is actually pretty good if you are on a tight budget. But if you want something that has better control, I would think that you can even go for the Butterfly Viscaria or even the newly released Fan Zhen Dong ALC blade, okay? And if you really want a powerful blade and you do not have a good one now, I think you can consider the Pro version, given that it is about 300 Singapore dollars. It is actually slightly on the pricey range, but it is still not as pricey as those Super ZLC blades that Butterfly have, and also as compared to DHS W968, it is still not that pricey as well as compared to those. Okay, so I have come towards the end of my review for the Xiom TMXi regular and the Pro version. For those of you who have experience with this blade, I welcome you to share your thoughts in the comment section below as well, so we can all learn from one another. And lastly, don't forget to hit the like, share and subscribe button for more awesome table tennis video content from TT Passion. Once again, thank you very much for watching this video. See you again in my next video. Goodbye and take care.